This is Inside Indiana Business Radio for the afternoon of Wednesday, December 20th, 2023. I'm Kate Sharon. Bloomington will soon be home to a new employer in industry, filling part of a gap in the local economy after Chicago-based Enhanced Semiconductors announced a $152 million investment into a Cook Medical facility, which will result in at least 250 high-wage jobs. The company will turn the mostly vacant Cook property into a microelectronics manufacturing and packaging facility. President and founder Bob Patty.
And we're starting to have customers that instead of needing, dozens of parts, or maybe hundreds of parts, we're starting to have a more medium volume customer base that needs thousands or small tens of thousands of parts. Mm-hmm. I like to say we're really in a different business than a lot of those companies. We handle many, many more designs than they do, and we manufacture them much more cost effectively for the quantities we build.
While the current estimate is about 250 jobs created within 5 years, Patty said that number is conservative, and he could easily see that double by 2029. Annual salaries are planned to average about $100,000. The Bloomington project meets the needs of enhanced rapid growth. Patty estimates the company will grow between 350 to 400% within the next year, as the semiconductor industry increases its focus on innovation and specialty production. The Wisconsin-based firm behind the BottleWorks district has struck a deal to buy most of Circle Center Mall in downtown Indianapolis from its original investors and plans to spend $60 million over the next decade to transform it into an open-air, pedestrian-focused campus with housing, offices, and shopping. Hendricks Commercial Properties CEO Rob Gerbitz.
A true mixed-use development in virtually every capacity you can think of mixed use. We look at this as that this can become a transformative, dynamic, world-class development for Indianapolis and really for everywhere.
Hendricks, which also developed Ironworks at 86th Street and Keystone Avenue, tentatively plans to put $100 million into the first phase of redevelopment, which will likely take place on the South End block bordered by Illinois, Meridian, Georgia, and Maryland streets. The first phase is expected to be finished by 2028, with the remainder of the mall redeveloped through 2033. As the attention of developers and city officials shift downtown, South Bend City Church is nearing completion of the first phase of its Tribune project, a multi-million-dollar renovation of the former South Bend Tribune printing plant at LaSalle Avenue and Lafayette Boulevard. South Bend City Church purchased the space from former South Bend Tribune owner Schertz Communications last year after learning they wouldn't have the option to renew their lease in the former Studebaker Building 84, further south on Lafayette. South Bend City Church's purchase makes use of the printing press's building, which, along with other neighboring former newsroom offices, had sat vacant since the Tribune's new owners moved the newspaper out of the building in 2019. The church's anticipated move this spring to the Tribune's printing plant is just one of a string of private and public investments planned in the city's downtown corridor in the coming years. From the number one source for Indiana business news, this is Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Whether it's a new hire or a noteworthy promotion, IIB's Bigwigs and New Gigs serves as a platform to promote your team. Our revamped offering includes being featured on both the newly redesigned newsletter and at InsideIndianaBusiness.com. Subscribers to the Business News subscription save $10 off every listing. Plus, you can save $100 by bundling your submission to IIB with the Indianapolis Business Journal or the Indiana Lawyer. More at InsideIndianaBusiness.com.
The Indiana Economic Development Corporation received the green light Tuesday to offer $180 million in incentives for 2 advanced manufacturing projects valued at $7.2 billion, the details of which remain undisclosed. IIB's Alex Brown has more.
The State Budget Committee, which consists of 4 lawmakers and the state budget director, voted unanimously to authorize the spending, but Democrats on the committee expressed deep reservations about the agency's requests, which included an additional $97 million for land acquisition and site improvements for the LEAP Innovation and Research District in Boone County. The money will come from a $500 million IEDC deal closing fund that was approved by state lawmakers in this year's budget, but the IEDC needed the state State Budget Committee's blessing to move forward with the transactions. The committee approved the agency's ask for $80 million in incentives for a tech company that plans to invest $3.1 billion into a facility to manufacture advanced electrical components, a project that is expected to create 800 jobs, according to IEDC Senior Vice President Mark Waskey. The committee also approved the agency's request to spend $71 million to acquire roughly 750 acres of land that is already under option in Boone County for the LEAP District to support an estimated $800 million investment in the first phase of a company's multi-billion-dollar information technology center project. Alex Brown, Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Amazon is building an $87 million data center in Portage after local leaders sought to bring the online retail giant to the city for about 2.5 years, our partners at the Times of Northwest Indiana report. The facility will be in the Ameriplex at the Port Business Park north of Interstate 94 and south of the Port of Indiana Burns Harbor on Lake Michigan. The center will hire at least 10 people who make at least $100,000 per year. The city of Fort Wayne will now be able to establish designated outdoor refreshment areas, following the approval Tuesday by the Fort Wayne Common Council. Outdoor refreshment areas allow people to carry drinks out of a bar and walk around with them within the area's boundaries. And our partners at WPTA TV report that the city's first one has already been outlined for the downtown area. The designated area runs from Promenade Park south to Parkview Field through the Harrison Street corridor. About 15 bars and restaurants are included within the area's boundaries. A Clarksville-based manufacturer of structural trusses for the residential, multifamily, commercial, and agricultural markets is growing its operations. GHK Truss LLC plans to invest $1 million to boost production at its Clark County facility, most of which will be dedicated to new machinery and equipment and will add up to 15 jobs to accommodate increased demand. GHK was founded in 2008 and has grown to more than 40 employees over the last 15 years. Langham Logistics CEO Kathy Langham is this week's guest on the Business and Beyond podcast with Gary Dick, presented by PNC, a weekly conversation with high-profile Hoosiers in business, sports, entertainment, and beyond. Available now from your favorite podcast provider. I'm Kate Sharon for Inside Indiana Business, Radio on Demand.